everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. VR standing for virtual reality, of course. We're going to be talking about virtual reality.
I thought it was for very rad.
Well, it is.
It's a very rad podcast.
It is a rad podcast. I think it's the best podcast.
I do too.
Period.
I do too. I'm a little biased.
We're a little biased.
I do like it a lot.
We like it. We like VR, and we like doing the show. So thanks for being here and joining us, everyone. Yeah. I'm Alex. This is Skiva.
What up?
We're the guys. We are Between Realities, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us. How are we sounding, by the way, everyone? Is audio coming through? Is the thing jumping?
It is. It's jumping. Yeah, people just let us know if everything's good, but I'm guessing it is.
We've got a little bit of a complex after starting an episode with no audio a few weeks ago. Want to make sure that everything is good to go, tip top. So thanks for being here, everyone. We're going to have a great episode. A little bit of a shorter episode today than I think is typical of our things. We've kind of got a tight schedule today, but we're here, and we're excited to get into it.
Absolutely.
So before we do that, we'll take a moment to say hello to everyone. We do the show live on YouTube. That's like really the main spot to check it out. If you don't catch the live show, we do this. We do upload it to Spotify and Anchor and iTunes, all the awesome podcast platforms. You can actually catch the video version of this on Spotify as well, which is pretty cool, which I don't even know if I've ever checked out. I don't think I've ever watched the video version on Spotify. I have listened to the audio version before, but I'm going to go and check out the video version of this out there too, just so that way I can see myself on Spotify, I guess. But,
there's not a whole lot of video podcasts out there. We were allowed in as an early access thing.
Yeah, it's just Joe Rogan and us.
Yep,
so there you go. That's it. But we do a live show, and of course we do have an amazing cast of characters who kind of tune in with us every week, and it really means a lot to us that you guys tune in and catch these live broadcasts with us. Additionally, you might be watching this on Upload VR over the weekend too, and we like that as well. We are official Upload VR correspondents, and something that we're proud of, which we've been doing for just about a year now, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Very cool.
Time is just slipping through our fingers.
I know.
Mike Newton's here, and he says the weekend, and he is right. It is the weekend.
What up, Mike Newton?
We're getting it up and running here. Diego Darko saying, have an awesome show. BR fan, catch you in the morning. Thanks for stopping by, brother. I hope you are catching this in the morning. And I watched your little Monkey Do video that you put up recently, too. That's cool. I appreciate seeing content from you, bro.
Heck yeah.
Getting things done. What's good, fam? Hey. How's it going, brother?
What's
good
up,
to see you, man. Hey, congratulations to you and Joy for the meta write-up. That's pretty rad. So if you guys weren't familiar, Jay Dunn, who is, and his wife Joy Rain are the hosts of the Get Him to the Metaverse podcast. Well, they have some pretty amazing custom worlds in Meta Horizon Worlds, that platform. And Joy Rain does a show, like a podcast, kind of like ours, from within Meta Horizon Worlds. And it just got recognized by Meta as like the world of the week or the world of the month, or I don't know how often they do it, but it's still pretty rad. So congratulations.
Yeah, I get to go in there and see the show live.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
She's a natural, man. She really is. She's a natural.
Yeah, they both are. They're both fantastic.
Great people.
Yep. Brandon VR is in the house, bro. What's up? Good to see you. Little Duggars K here. Early to the party. That's right. Thanks for your patience while we got everything up and running today, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
RobynzReality is here. He's a channel member. That's right.
Boy?
He's the real deal. Little classy grandma. Whoop, whoop.
What's up, classy
grandma? And her band of adventurers are working through the sewers of the Rat King right now after I dangled a
little carrot.
A little carrot. If you guys pull it off, I will literally be stunned. Like, the Rat King is so hard. It is not easy to do, and I know you guys are all new to the game.
It's not, but I have faith in you.
I'm a little worried. I made that challenge thinking that there was zero chance, but now I think there is a chance.
Yeah.
I think
they're working on it.
I think they're working on it. Yeah. They've beat the second level, and they've been doing it like floor by floor. They do a floor, walk away.
Oh, nice.
That is not my style. Like, once I get in there, I'm either dying or I'm killing a Rat King. Obscure Nerds in the house. What's up, bro?
Hey, Andy. How's it going?
Good to see you, man. Echo into the universe is what I almost said, but he's actually Echo into the future. He's here.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for being here. A little CreeperBettyVR. What's up, baby girl? That's
How's
right.
It going?
Nakazaki 1. Good to see you. Michelle B is here. What's up, Michelle B? Thanks for dropping in with us.
Hey.
The Between Realities crew. Mickey Burr.
Mickey Burr.
The legend Mickey Burr. True legendary status here. Andy's VR Reviews. What's up, man? Good to see you. I remember our meeting at CES quite fondly. I hope I get to see you again at some point, bro. Oh, Grumpy Duck. The Grumpy Duck.
Whoa, the Grumpy Duck.
It says the Grumpy Duck. That's not just Grumpy Duck. That's the Grumpy Duck.
Wow.
Yeah, good to see you, brother.
Hey, I see Infamous Swiss in the chat. Ooh. What is up, Zug? How you doing, buddy?
Zug is one of the OG supporters.
Probably our very first Patreon, I think as well. Yeah, and like the real life homie.
Zug.
Love you, dude.
Bro. Yeah, man. Yep. It's always great to see you.
Yes.
A little funky sloth up in here. Hey. Nice funky sloth action. Oh, a little Hussein X. Oh,
what's up, Hussein?
I like it. Little virtual Steve who got the Skiva experience in Neos yesterday.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what's up, virtual Steve?
I'm excited to hear what you thought of that, Steve. I mean, I watched a good portion of your video live and then after the fact, but still it would be good to get your overarching thoughts there. Little Chi-Town D.
D, what's up, D?
That is right. Brandon VR. I don't know if I remember Brandon earlier, but there's Brandon.
Yeah, what's up, Brandon?
Oh, is that Eric Masher? My gosh. I love Eric Masher.
Oh, Mash
Daddy Cool from Q2C VR Gamer.
We love you, dude.
He's awesome. Tonic is in the house. What's up, Tonic? Thanks for being here with us. Butter something, of course, right?
Hey, what's up, Butter something?
Butter something, little butter or something. Ooh, Red/Ace. What's up, man?
Hey,
good to see you. Alakazam in the house as well. That's
what's
right.
Up?
Oh my gosh, it's Daniel Kaz in the house as well.
Hey,
holy crap!
Daniel.
Is that a little Fabster too? It is Fabster, man. Thank you all so much for showing up today.
So many.
This is really awesome. Jenna Sequa. What's up, girl?
What's up, Jenna?
Classy Grandma also hitting us with a super chat.
Wow, right off the bat.
$10 saying, Alex, you and Skiva are my prize. Love you guys. Aw, I wish I had like a button, but instead it's just that's all you get. Fluke Rogi, thanks for coming in through, dude. Oh my gosh, try Grey Wolf. Can we please get on with the show? All right. We're going to get on with the show, but it really means a lot to us that you guys are here. Yes, thank you so much. Does. So we teased this episode last week, but there was a thing that happened when I was at the VR Awards where all of a sudden I found myself up on stage accepting awards for someone. And I guess that someone has joined us here today. There's a platform that is winning awards right now called Immerse, and it is used to help people learn how to speak new languages, leveraging the power of virtual reality, which of course is pretty cool. It's one of those like outside of the box, not just for games kind of approaches, you know. Which
I love to see this stuff. I love to see different uses for VR, and this is a really good one.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah. So he's here. He's the CEO of Immerse. Everybody, welcome to Between Realities. Quinn Taber. What's up, Quinn?
Yeah, thanks, guys.
What's up? How's it going?
Team, man? I'm already chuckling because I can't help but want to start with the story of you winning all the awards on my behalf.
I think
it's been a couple weeks and I'm still cracking up. That was amazing.
I do think we have to start with that because ultimately that's how this started, right? Like
it's our origin story.
It is. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe eventually you would have found your way onto the Between Reality spaceship, but that is the catalyst here, right? Like that's what connected us.
Well, even better yet, I've told this story to like at least a dozen friends and they think it is the most iconic and funny story, but I haven't heard your telling. So I'm kind of on the edge of my seat right now.
I mean, and I was actually just going back and forth in my head right now. I'm like, okay, who starts? Like, do I start? Like, do we start with my perspective of what happened? Or do we start with yours?
You start.
Well, maybe you can hand it off to me because there's a reason why I all of a sudden look at my phone while I'm sitting in the audience at the VR Awards in Rotterdam.
You're in the front row.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us, I guess, all right, this is good. Tell us a little bit about Immerse. Okay. What is Immerse?
Yeah. And I like this.
How did you tell us about the VR Awards and how you got nominated and then what led to what happened?
Yes, bro, that's the perfect kind of like cue up. So I'll do maybe the 30-second pitch on Immerse, but I really want to get to the story and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
So I started Immerse in 2017. I was working for a large impact investor and philanthropist in the Middle East. I know that sounds like, wait, what? How's that connected to VR? Wow. And I fell in love with digital education and how you could leverage new technologies to help educate some of the folks in like the furthest corners of the globe, Africa, the Middle East, Central Asia. And in particular, one of my best pals was a Unity developer. So I would literally Skype in 2016, 2017, him and one other friend back on the West Coast. I'm like, guys, VR is the future and it is going to change education, and language learning is the biggest educational, like, academic sector. And it's so obvious. It's all around immersion. You have to be there in context. You need to be able to embody, meet people, practice new things, play games. And that's how you learn a language. So that's basically, that was 2016, 2017. We've been grinding it out ever since then. So now we've got 30 people, 30 staff, raised $12 million. And I'll skip to the, like, now fast forward to December 2022. I had actually just won the Forbes 30 under 30 thing. So I was already, yeah, I know. It was like an accidental humble brag, but I was riding on a high. And we had heard that we were nominated for the VR Awards, which, to the best of my knowledge, it's like the black tie. Like, I call it the Oscars of the metaverse or VR.
It is.
Totally.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
It was in, oh man, was it Rotterdam? Somewhere deep in the Netherlands. And I was supposed to go, and then I had like a pretty big work thing come up. And then our like head of sales and growth, Christian, was supposed to go, but it was also last minute. We started DMing the like actual conference folks or the awards like leaders, and we're like, hey, can you tell us if we won or not so we can decide whether or not to come? And they're like, man, we are lips sealed. You just got to come. And we're like, we didn't go. Because it was all so last minute. But then we start hearing whispers the day before, like, hey, there's a decent chance you might actually get this thing. So then I'm telling Christian, like, bro, do you book a flight? Like, what do we do? So we just start texting everyone we know. We're like, hey, in the 1 in a million that we win this thing, can you accept it for us? So I'll stop there. And then Alex, you take it from there.
I will. What's up, Hilto? Thanks for dropping in with us, man. It's good to see you. It's
hey,
been
buddy.
a while.
How are you?
Space Denizen, of course, bro. Good to see you as well. So I, as you guys know, went to the VR Awards. It was kind of like a two birds kind of situation for me. Obviously, Between Realities was nominated for VR Content Creator of the Year. So that was like our main in. Thank you. Yeah, we were the second year in a row that we got nominated for a VR award. So like when we found out we were nominated, we were just like on cloud nine. Like it means a lot to us to get that kind of recognition, So we had considered, what it would take for us to get out there. And the reality is that to travel from the States to go to Rotterdam for an award ceremony, it's like not exactly the most economical choice, But the company that I work for, Contact CI, that makes a haptic glove, got nominated for VR Enterprise Solution of the Year. And the company was like, you know what, let's go. In case we win, we definitely want to get this thing, right? So I had started working with Contact CI basically just in time to like solidify my position there and to like earn a ride over to Rotterdam with them to go to the awards ceremony. And then I'm like, sweet, I'm there. And that means that if Between Realities wins, I can accept for Between Realities. And that is amazing. Yes. Simultaneously, Skiva was in Sweden attending a Resolution Games event, checking out like Demio on the PS5 and some
PSVR 2.
Yeah, PSVR 2 and all that stuff. So we were actually
all the unreleased games.
Kind of sad because we were like both split up for two insanely epic events, but also we're happy that we could kind of be in two places at one time for that.
I think that means y'all are just big deals. That's my take.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. This is a big deal, man. You should probably remember this day, February 3rd, 2023. That was the day things changed for you, Quinn.
I'm definitely going to be journaling.
So anyway, I am at the awards, and it's really awesome, dude. Like, as soon as I walk in, I start recognizing people. Like the first person who I saw when I showed up at the VR Awards, like the location of the event was Jason Moore from the Meta Movie, and I'm just like, dude, yo, what's up? Like, and he ended up winning that night too, which is so rad.
Well deserved.
Yeah, but we do photos in front of the step and repeat, a red carpet, and everybody's in tuxedos and like ball gowns and just looking amazing. And then we have like a 3-course dinner, and it's super good, and it's definitely feeling like a nice ritzy thing. We all kind of move into the like the auditorium where the show is going to be taking place, and I'd say there's probably a few people or a few hundred people in attendance, if I had to guess, maybe like 300 or so, something like that. But I'm sitting in my chair, and I'm like got a program on me and I'm just flipping through it and I'm like open my phone, kind of waiting for the show to start. And that's where I see a text message from Skiva and also like a ping on LinkedIn from our friend Bobby Carlton. And, you know, basically Skiva's like, yo, somebody wants you to accept an award. Like, you should check out this thread. I'm like, what? Okay, fair, fine. And I dive into LinkedIn and there's Bobby. He's like, yo, I've got a buddy who, you know, is nominated tonight and they weren't able to go. And turns out you have to have someone accept it to get it. So if they win, like, are you willing to go up there and get it?
You're the guy.
And I was pressure. Like, I guess so. Yeah. You know, like that's no problem. And I like look at my team real quick and I'm like, so some random company wants me to go up and accept an award on their behalf. Like, are you guys okay with that? Because like I'm here like with you and like what if we accept an award for like for us? I don't know. Just like wanted to like make sure, but everyone's like, yeah, sure, whatever. If they win, go for it. So I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'll do it. And I did. And here's the thing. Immerse was nominated for 2 VR awards.
Bro, I know.
And they won both of them. Which is ridiculous. Like the first time I went up there, I was like, okay, this is cool because they sent over like an acceptance speech, you know, it was like like, hey, say this if you win. I'm like, okay, fine. And I'm actually like very anti phones with microphones. Yeah. Like I really don't like to do that, but it was the only way I was going to like accurately portray the message that I got. So I go up there with my phone, I read the message off, you know, I say, you know, Immerse is doing good. They're awesome, blah, blah, blah. They have a few words to say. Here they are. Drop them off. Thanks again on behalf of Immerse. Have a great one. And I go back to my chair. And I honestly started like borderline dreading the next one. You know, I'm like, oh God, what if they win again? I have to go up there again. And like, what do I say this time? You know? So like it comes up and I'm like borderline sweating in my chair. And then they're like, Immerse. And I'm like, all right. Here we go. So I go back up there. I'm like, give me that microphone. And, you know, I'm just like, oh, I'm up here again. You know, shout out Immerse. Obviously, they're awesome because they keep winning awards. And shout out Between Realities. Shout out Contact CI. Just like use the opportunity to like plug like what I was there for. And turns out I'm like the winningest person at a VR awards. No one has ever won 2 VR awards. Yeah. So all night, I'm like, I mean, not all night, but a good portion of the night, I'm literally walking around with the actual VR awards in my hands. And people are like coming up and congratulating me and all this stuff, you know? And I'm like, oh, thank you. And they're like, yeah, no one's ever walked up on stage twice before.
Back.
Wow.
You know, so...
Guys.
Wild night.
It's
what a wild
such
night.
A good story. Oh, I really have told this story so many times. All that my experience was, once again, we didn't think we had that like big of a shot, but we all last minute were like, hey, let's just stream the thing. Like we'll all get in VR on Zoom and just like watch it together. It's 1 in a million. When we won the first one, we went buck wild. But then after that, we were doing the exact same thing. Alex, we're like, guys, that was awesome. It'll be a couple years before we get nominated again. Like, let's really lower expectations for the second category. Didn't even write a message to Alex in case we won the second. It was not on our radar. So once they said our name the second time, everyone ballistic. Everyone was screaming and jumping up and down. It was amazing. And dude, you crushed it. It was like, man, 2 for 2. Great speeches. You're good on the mic, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's like the only thing I got going for me. You know, it's like, it's a good thing get a microphone. I can just talk into it, and you know, it's like no, I couldn't possibly. And then I just like
give it to
turn on and ignite. It's like put the spotlight on me. Let's go. So yeah, you know, I'm no stranger to that space, and it was really fun. You know, and it gave me such a more, I don't know. It was like a much bigger part of being there, you know, like being up on stage at the end when they're like, okay, all the winners come up. I'm like, I guess I will. Yeah, with my 2 awards, you know. So
bicep workout over here.
Dude, yeah, they're heavy, you know. They're actually really nice awards too. They like use artwork from the company or from the game or from the whatever, really customize it. So like it says like it's like a big plaque, but it has like your imagery on there. And it was a really great night. And, you know, being able to go up there and accept for you guys was definitely a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor. Like it was very fun to do. And
guys, that's awesome.
You know, I'm just happy that that it all worked out. Like, it would have been a huge bummer if we didn't get in touch with anybody, right? And then no one's there to accept your award.
No awards. Oh yeah. Well, and team, the real backstory is this was all just a ploy to get on your podcast.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's
the truth comes out.
Obviously.
The truth comes out.
That's what this really comes down to.
Well, I gotta say, it's a pretty elaborate ploy because in order to get on our podcast, you went ahead and made some platform that won awards.
6 years, guys. So
yeah, it's been a long time
live
coming.
it up right now.
It's been a long time coming. So why did you guys win? You know, like what makes makes this good?
Man, that's like such a perfect assist. Great question. I think there's so many different fun ways I could attack this. I've also been pitching a ton of VCs in the last like 2 months, including an hour ago. So I'm like primed with like 6 different talking points.
Nice. How did it go, by the way? Did it go pretty good?
Oh yeah, bro, like super good.
Oh, hell
pretty
yeah.
stoked.
Great job.
Still right on some adrenaline. Yeah, totally. So I think if I were to like really pinpoint the kind of the moment that a lot of VR founders are in is the like, okay, VR, obviously it like rode the hype curve. It was super shiny. Everyone wanted to talk about it. And then in typical fashion, the last couple months haven't been as easy unless you can really prove both to users and then definitely to investors and employees that you have a real compelling use case for VR that takes advantages of the affordances of VR, which for me is like, okay, are you going places? Is it like contextualized? Can you embody and be someone new? Can you socialize? Can you gamify? And for us, that's the epicenter of like, okay, of all of the use cases for VR, personally, the one that I'm most passionate about by a long shot is language learning. Kind of speaking to my experience really quick, I grew up in a family that lived in a ton of different countries. And language learning was always the key that unlocked opportunity, especially for like immigrants and refugees. If you can teach a refugee English, that's how they get a visa. That's how they get into school and grad school all the way through. That's how you get a job. So that was always like a huge part of my family's identity. Both my mom as like a refugee and an immigrant, and then them now giving back as adults. I think those kind of key story arcs are what have really motivated us as a company for, like I said, 6 years now. Like we've been grinding for a while.
Yeah.
But then really skipping straight to like, what's the last 6 months looked like for us since Meta named us their preferred partner for education and in particular language learning. And there's only 2 of us now that like have that little classification. Our app, we get all the data from Meta. We're ranking some of the highest for usage, like per day. A lot of Meta's issue right now is like, great, people buy a headset and they play Beat Saber and then they put it in the closet. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's like, no, we're catalyzing a pretty huge community. A third of the globe wants to learn language. It's a $125 billion market. And we can do it quantitatively better in VR. And not just like 10% better. We're talking like 200-300% better. So that's what drives us. Wow. And that's a lot of the results that we're able to show.
What are you doing that makes it 200-300 times better?
Yep. It's there's so many fun ways to describe it. I think I'll take the like, man, if you two in particular wanted to learn Spanish, there's do freshman, sophomore year of high school, stare at the whiteboard. Then there's like, okay, I'm an adult and it's COVID. I'm gonna start swiping through Duolingo. Both of those don't tap into the like neurological way our brains were hardwired to learn a language, which is through immersion. It's the like, you got to go to the real place, go to Mexico City and make friends with someone that is a native Spanish speaker and go order food and go out, grab drinks and do real life tasks. That is both the like neurological and pedagogical, I'm getting too excited, only way to learn a language. And until VR came onto the scene, the only way to do that was to save up 20 grand, take 3 months of vacation and travel the world to learn a language. And now you can do it in your living room, 1 hour a day for a really cheap subscription. That's the true key that unlocks the power of language learning.
Immerse. Right?
Immerse.
It's Immerse.
Yeah.
Like I've heard about, like, I'm not bilingual, right? Like I have worked in kitchens for a good amount of time in my life. Well, as a server, right? But I worked alongside of kitchens, and I absolutely learned a hefty chunk of like kitchen Spanish by doing that.
Interesting.
But that's just because I'm there. They say a word to me. I'm like, what does that mean? And then they tell me what that means. I'm like, okay, cool. And they keep using that word. And eventually I'm like using it naturally, like as Spanglish, like to friends back in Michigan who don't have that perspective. And they're like, what did you just say? And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that was Spanish. Like I didn't realize that, so.
And we live 2 hours from the Mexico border. So there are a lot of Spanish speaking citizens here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, I've heard people basically like, I think everybody on some level would love to learn another language and love to be bilingual or trilingual or whatever, like to me, it's actually mind blowing that there are words that exist in other languages that like represent like thought and like emotion that I don't have words for in English, because I feel so capable of expressing myself using the English language. Like, I mean, maybe it takes me longer to get there or something, but like, I feel like I'm doing it, but I'm not really, because there are people using completely different sounds to express similar or different things. It's so amazing. And I've always heard that the way to do that is you like go to Mexico, or you go to France if you want to learn how to speak French. And if you stay there long enough, you'll be spitting French before. And
why is that? Because you're immersed in it.
That is it. It makes perfect sense.
You're really catching on. That's exactly it. I think if I were to just riff with you, the additional thing that kind of gets activated either when you're like in Mexico City or in Madrid, or honestly in the back kitchen, like figuring out which plate is which. Language is either driven by like necessity, meaning like, oh my God, I'm an immigrant. I should really learn English because I can't get on this bus. I can't order, like everything is necessary. The only other way to really activate it is if it's gamified. If you're doing things that you naturally are super entertained by. So there's this brilliant Stanford professor that I like geeked out on right when I was starting Immerse. And his whole point was for the last 80 years of the American educational system, we've been drilling grammar and vocab. And the results are really subpar. And what he started doing is he'd just ask his students in his class, like, hey, what are you reading for fun? And you'd get like the romance novel. And then there's like this huge crew that really likes anime. And he would literally just write it down and then go get that exact resource, translate it. It's like, great. You want to learn Japanese? Read the anime that you're already like truly entertained by. Just do it in Japanese and you'll catch on so quickly. The really common one when you're traveling overseas is everyone speaks English and you're like, how? What is it? And they all say, Friends, the sitcom from the 90s. Like, we freaking love that stuff. Like, that's how I learned. So for us, we take a really small jump and say like, okay, VR is clearly wildly entertaining. And there's all these amazing gamification mechanics. Let's employ those because they're so entertaining and they're so almost addicting. And let's just layer on language learning. Let's bring a PhD level Spanish instructor so that all the most fun things you can do, you're now doing with a Spanish coach. So it doesn't feel like you're learning. It's just like, oh gosh, this is another fun Friday night. And holy cow, I just learned like 30 new things in Spanish.
Wow. So what's like a typical session look like? Like, let's say it's not my first day. I've been doing it for a couple of weeks. I log in, like, how long am I going to be in the headset? What am I going to see while I'm in there? What's it like?
Yeah, good question. Really good question. I'll explain both like a class, because that's really the bread and butter and where you learn a ton. But I'll go back one step and do the like, okay, I just signed up for Immerse. What should I expect? Sign up for Immerse, create your avatar, go through a fun little tutorial. It only takes 2 minutes. And all of a sudden you're plopped down in our virtual world that you aren't by yourself told to like, go study vocab. You're plopped down in a homeroom and they say, hey, go to the social lobby. And Immerse actually has, if you want to learn Spanish, a Spanish teacher that does almost like office hours, hangs out in this huge social lobby with games and fun exercises and activities, and go. And that almost like a receptionist is there 24/7. So you just jump right in. And from the first moment, you're hanging out with people that all want to learn Spanish with you. Or if you want to learn French, you go to that social lobby. From there, the next like natural jumping off point once you make a couple friends, especially if it's like, oh, I'm a maybe lower intermediate Spanish speaker. I took 2 years in high school and I kind of forgot a lot. You can then find friends just like you and go on these learning adventures. It's like, great. Hey, we want to learn Spanish. Let's go to the virtual Barcelona and practice these really engaging learning adventures, just like you would if you were exploring and hanging out in VR chat or Rec Room. That's your like first 20 minutes in Immerse. So you hit the ground running, but the like real meat and potatoes is our PhD instructors that are teaching around the clock. So from VR, or you can book it on your phone or your laptop, book and say, hey, okay, right now in California where I am, it's 3:10 p.m. We have classes that start on the 30-minute mark. So at 3:30, the next class will start, and it's at my level. And it says, it's not like, oh, let's practice the past participle. It's, hey, let's practice ordering tapas, or let's practice checking into the hotel, or let's practice ordering or like making some food in the kitchen. Real like tangible life skills. And at 3:30, you jump in, teacher welcomes you, you get placed with a couple of students at your level, and you go through this really rich learning experience.
Wow. Skiva, what do you think?
This is awesome. I want to do this like immediately.
Do it. What language would you learn?
Spanish. Well, and really because like we live, like I was just saying, right next to Mexico, you can walk out and you can immerse your, like I could walk out of my door, go anywhere and speak Spanish. And chances are whoever I'm talking to is going to already speak Spanish, right? So I'm in a great environment to learn something like this and be able to go and actually use it, because it's one of the problems with learning a language is if you don't use it, you lose it, right? But that's a really good thing about this program is you can go in there and immerse yourself in these environments, work with an instructor, and really learn and use it every day. And so this would bring a ton of value to me as well. And I think to a lot of people. This is great. This is good stuff. Very exciting.
Thanks, guys. Well, I think that's exactly it. Like there's one world where we say, hey, we want to stay super insular, just hang out with us. But the whole point is if you take like a month, maybe 2 or 3 classes a week, you will see your like tangible skills building up so that when you actually see your neighbor down the street and you're like, oh, I'm pretty sure their first language is Spanish, you'll feel, and we've like done all this testing with like third-party university researchers, that the anxiety that we all feel speaking a second language, if you've practiced in VR, it almost disappears in real life.
Amazing.
That's for me, that's the secret sauce. Like, oh, wait, the reason that I'm fearful when I'm speaking a second language is like, oh, I haven't practiced it. I might mess up. I might look dumb. Get all that out of the way in VR when you're in an avatar with friends, you're giggling, you're making mistakes, and then you can really perform in real life. That's the cool part.
I've traveled with people that have taken years and years of Spanish and you know, all through college and got really, really good at it. But then a little time went by and then they're not confident anymore. And then we go to a country that is Spanish speaking and then they are too nervous to go ahead and use that because everyone there, that's their first language.
And it hasn't been like this muscle that they've been tuning. Like maybe they have the knowledge, but like don't have the practice, you know, and like the practice.
So you get some anxiety from that, right? So so being able to use something like this, even to brush up your skills, right? Because am I correct in assuming that this isn't just for beginners? Maybe you could use...
It's all levels. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So we have... Yeah, you're queuing me up perfect. Right now we have 4 levels. We do a little assessment. It's super easy. And we'll place you and suggest like, hey, it looks like you probably took, like I just said, 2 years in high school, but that was 15 years ago. So you're a little rusty. We're going to recommend not like the upper intermediate. We're going to do that like lower intermediate, just above beginner. And that turns out a lot of humanity is exactly that use case. That's what I am. I'm like, yeah, it took 2 years in high school and I kind of forgot.
Yep.
Jump in, meet with people at your level and instantly start progressing.
Wow.
Amazing. Substatica in the house. Good to see you, Substatica.
Hey,
thanks for dropping in. Oh, a little Arcanian in the house.
Hey, what's
That's
up,
right.
Arcanian?
And Reese the King, VR.
Reese.
He's the dude. Good to see you, bro.
What's up,
Reese has been on a health kick lately, by the way.
Know,
I appreciate that, man. I want to do it too. I'm actually, hey, he just super chatted us too.
Oh, thanks so much, dude.
And he said something in a foreign language that I haven't learned in Immerse yet, so I can't translate. Thank you, Reese.
Join us, Alex.
Good to see you. You know, there's definitely some times where like I really wish that I did have that other muscle that I could be flexing. You know, like I really enjoy expressing myself using the English language. Like I said earlier, I feel capable of doing it. Like there's not a feeling or a thought that I don't feel well equipped to convey. But like if I'm not the hugest anime fan in the world, but I definitely have watched a few and I really like them. And I've talked to friends who are like passionate about anime. And the big question for me with them and like ultimately when it comes to consuming that kind of content is, do you watch it with subtitles? Do you watch it dubbed? Like what is the best way? And ultimately there's a huge group of anime fans who will watch the dub regardless, because there is like inflection that's put on certain words. Like they'll be saying a whole sentence in English by saying someone's name with a different tone. You know, like they'll just like say their name differently and the translation ends up being like a sentence that they have to write, you know? So like you're actually missing out on like the true actual intended way of interpreting what they're trying to convey by doing something like listening to a dub version, which by the way is my current choice, because I don't want to have to pull my eyes away from the action for the entire show. Like I want to be able to see the animation of the show and understand what's happening in the action without having to read lines the entire time. And I'm not pulling enough of that juicy goodness out of the dialogue in Japanese for it to like be worth it for me. But I know what I'm missing out on, and that makes me sad. Like I wish I could totally understand it in its origin native form. Maybe if I watched more anime, I would be incentivized to like maybe potentially try to do this. But I definitely want to visit Japan at some point. And I know that it really goes a long way with natives, even if you're not great at their language, that you attempt to use it.
Exactly, guys. Oh, you're like you're like plucking my heartstrings. These are all my favorite things. Like just the difference when I was living in the Middle East, working with Syrian refugees. In the first couple of months, didn't speak anything. And you could just see kind of the like look on their face of like, it's another American. Like, okay, here it comes. I learned 3 phrases, completely changed the entire interaction. Like, oh wait, this guy cares enough to make a little effort and like actually learn about our culture and our kind of like our ways of life. I think that one alone is like a huge gift. And like something that I want to be able to do myself. But then I think the next place that my mind goes to is as Americans and like folks that kind of grew up where all of the media is already English or it's already dubbed into English, like everything humanly imaginable, business and taxes, like all of it just comes second nature to us. After I lived overseas, I don't want to make this like super political sounding, but I was like, oh geez, there's some privilege there that I'm the lucky guy. And the other, what would it be? Basically 3/4 of like global humanity is really working hard just to keep up. And they don't have that luxury. So for us, yes, a lot of our users are Americans wanting to learn Spanish so that they're like, heck yeah, I can travel. I can like speak with my neighbors. But the big market, the 75% of the market are folks in Asia that really want to learn English.
Interesting.
So they can work and do commerce and travel and watch American movies and music. Like for them, it's huge. And that was actually the truest motivator for me. Is like, wow, if I could unlock for them all that opportunity, both on an entertainment, but like a livelihood standpoint, that's something I could do for a long time. So that's like my true motivator and like my heart of hearts.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I mean, do you ever, I mean, as the CEO of the company, like, are you able to spend time using this? Like, have you been able to leverage your own platform to like help yourself speak other languages?
It's such a good question. Short answer, big yes. I think it's funny. And this is the first time I'm going to admit this in like anything that's recorded. One of the main reasons I was so hyped to start it is I actually fit the little demographic that's like a perfectionist and easily gets stage fright and does not want to look dumb or make mistakes or like slip and accidentally say something offensive. So when I was learning French or Arabic, even though I'm like an extrovert in English, I was a big old introvert in the foreign language, which was kind of a weird experience. Immerse is like really relieved that. It's almost like when you like go to a counselor and like, I got this trauma I got to work through. And all of a sudden you're like, I feel in Immerse, I'm like, yes, I'm uninhibited. Like I can be myself. It's so wild. Like I'm still kind of like, oh, I built this thing and it's freaking working. This is cool. I'm like really motivated.
Wow.
So
So let's say I don't know a single word of Japanese. Do you offer Japanese? What languages do you offer? Let me ask that first.
Spanish, French, and English. Japanese is next on the list. We have a huge wait list of people that want Japanese.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, then I'll use French for this example.
Yeah.
So let's say I don't speak a single word of French at all. Yeah. I am completely just 100% novice. How long, if I'm using Immerse to the best of its ability, do you guess that it will take me to become fluent in that language?
I don't have a guess. I got the hard data.
You've got the data. That's what I'm looking for.
So there's this nifty thing called the Foreign Service Institute that levels off how long each language takes. I won't do the full nerdy Korean is a 4+ and Arabic is only a 4 like Mandarin, and Korean takes I think it's 2,700 hours. French takes 750 hours. Arabic takes 18. There's all these fascinating classifications. I learned Arabic. It took a long freaking time. I don't recommend it. It was so much work, but it was on the highest level of difficulty, which takes about 2,000 hours or more.
Oh, wow.
For you, Alex, as an American that doesn't speak a foreign language, or maybe whatever, if you're learning French, it'll take you about 800 hours if you're just doing typical classrooms with a whiteboard. All of the research shows that we can accelerate by 2 to 3 times. So instead of call it 750 hours, our goal is 250 hours. Wow. That's really what we're pushing for. I want to be super, super clear in case any of our PhDs are watching. We haven't technically proven with a use case, but we've shown that over 2 or 3 months, the results are 2 or 3 times better. So now we just need Alex, you to do it, and we'll prove it.
Wow. So and that is, again, just to be clear, comparing it to traditional methods of classroom learning, or using a Duolingo, or maybe the combination of the two, or whatever.
Exactly.
I can throw all that to the side, do only Immerse, and it would take me roughly 300 hours to get to the point where I am spitting. I could be a French rapper.
To fluent. Yep.
I have a question. Does this cover only spoken language, or do you do anything with written language?
That's such a good question.
Or sign language.
We have done a good bit of research, and between us three, we totally could focus on the writing element. But to be totally honest, it doesn't really utilize the affordances of VR in the same way. The immersion, being able to change your avatar and go places and meet people. So we've really focused on really the immersive way of learning, which is very conversational and social. And if someone else wants to figure out how to make writing dope in VR, we'll let them do it.
Yeah. But so it's basically just a limitation of what the tech is capable of, not necessarily a limitation on the way that you think you'd be able to teach it.
Yeah, and maybe I wouldn't even call it a limitation. It's more what are the benefits of VR? On the positive side.
I see.
And for us, all of the positives really drive what I'm kind of getting at of the social, experiential, travel related, which, mind you, all of the best cutting edge linguistics research says is the only way to learn a language. So if you want to learn Spanish and all you're ever going to do is read and write, you won't actually learn. You'll be a lot of people on Duolingo who are I'm fluent. And then they go to Mexico City and they're I don't know how to say anything. Which is not what we're trying to create.
That's interesting then. So obviously I won't be writing, right? I'm not going to write, but will I be reading? Will I be able to read a paragraph in French?
Yeah. And here's the difference is, you guys are asking the really fun questions. When you're in Immerse, there's this whole concept around scaffolding, which is I could just start riffing to you guys in Arabic and you probably wouldn't learn very much. So I have to really tune down the complexity, go to a beginner level, and start really using real life easy dialogues. We're talking kindergarten level dialogues, but we'll give you these tools in VR, which is what exists in our program, where you can actually see the little translation and you could save it to your backpack, and then you can review it on your own time, either in VR or on mobile. And there's all these different ways that I've never taken Spanish in high school. I always took French. I've been taking Spanish in Immerse, and I've been mind blown that an instructor will be speaking no English. But because there's all of these immersive tools where they'll be pointing out I literally learned the word globos for balloon the other day, not because they wrote it out for me, but because she handed me a balloon and said globos. And I was boom, I'm never going to forget that. I'm literally holding the balloon right now. That's immersion.
Wow, that's so powerful. I absolutely love this. We don't get to, we talk more about gaming, I feel like, right? But like, but there are so many different amazing ways for VR to change lives through education, through, you know, through learning all kinds of different things. And this is one of the coolest and most useful things I think I've ever seen anyone attempt and do well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, apparently the VR awards agree.
Yeah.
Because you walked away with 2 awards for this platform, which is really,
Alex,
really
you
awesome.
walked away with 2 awards.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I could have taken them home with me too, but I wanted to make sure that they made it to you. So
I was half expecting to see them like on a shelf over your shoulders right as we're speaking. I'm like, oh, there they are.
Oh, that's so funny. All right, so you know, I think like really the only question that like really needs to be answered now is how much is it?
Yeah. Oh, I was hoping you were going to ask, actually. I'm gonna almost like flip the equation a little bit and ask you guys. So a typical Spanish tutoring. Actually, I'll keep this quick. I'm guessing if y'all are like most people that we survey, you're like, okay, for an hour, I'd guess like $20 probably. And maybe I get a package and I get like 4 for a month and it's like 15% off. So like $70 for a month, but I get like 4 sessions. We totally flip that on its head. We're completely priced differently than any other language learning application. The whole social side where you can make friends, you can hang out for like the office hours thing and explore, free. You can then get your first class for free. And then we have 3 tiers. The first tier is 4 classes a month for $25.
wow.
The next one, I know that was the reaction I was hoping for. The next one is 8 classes per month for $45. And the third tier is unlimited classes for $100 a month.
Wow, that's amazing. What would you recommend for someone that's...
Yeah, when you said it's gonna, because we broke it down into hours, not days.
Right.
So if you say it's 300 hours, then you know, I guess it just depends how often you're going in there, right? Yeah. But okay, but yeah, your question is really good.
Yeah, like what would you recommend for someone that's maybe they're going on a trip and they want to get a certain amount of learning in to be able to understand, and maybe you know some basic words and how do I get to the bathroom, and you know, whatever the case may be. How much preparation time and how many classes would you recommend in a month?
Smart. Oh, I love that question. I'll answer like what I've done, and I've seen it work because I've tried a ton. Like over the last decade, I've tried so many different linguistic methodologies. The minimum, it's kind of like going to the gym. The minimum to like be super fit, or the minimum to really learn Spanish, is 2 or 3 days a week. I hate to say it in the same way, like if you just do push-ups once a week, like the results aren't going to be great. Interestingly, linguistics, it's the exact same. If you're just doing like Duolingo once a week for 20 minutes, 0 results. Like it's just, you're kind of wasting your time. You got to commit a little bit more. So for us, that's why the package that we say like really should start with is the 2 lessons a week. And that's for someone that's like, hey, I just wanted to learn Spanish and I'm busy and I got a job and I got a kid and like I could do 2 lessons a week. You will eventually hit your like 200 hour, 300 hour mark and reach that fluency, but it might take you a year, depending on how fast you go, maybe more. For the folks that are trying to go to Mexico City for vacation, I say, hey, double down. Do like at least 30 minutes a day. And that's where you see the like virality of growth. That's where it starts to like really compound quickly, and do it for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Is a class 30 minutes?
Yeah, class is 30 minutes. But if you're going to have the unlimited tier, you can just keep showing up. So you can go as much as you want.
So if you have like a month before a trip, you can drop $100 and jump into this thing every day for as long as you want. And you'll get to a point, if you show up every day, where you feel comfortable and confident being able to express yourself in a foreign language.
100%. Wow. In that pricing, I can't help but hammer this one home. I know a lot of the other founders on a whiteboard, and that's like, oh, you're going to learn.
Wow. Dang. Well, it's pretty cool. So, all right. So you said that like the social areas and stuff like that are free, right? Like, let's say I have 0 expendable income, right? Like I am just not going to be a customer. Like I'm not going to spend the money, but I do have enough desire to learn a foreign language where I might use the headset that I already own to just show up in Immerse. Like, are you capable of learning anything without going to these classes? It kind of seems like it's an immersive environment, like by nature, right? And of course, the goal is to get customers. So I don't want to tell people you don't have to.
I actually like where you're going. So keep going.
Yeah. So really the question is like, if I just show up in the platform and don't buy any classes, am I going to be able to like learn anything by just being in there?
You totally will learn. Yeah, you'll 100%. I think the metaphor is really simple. If you were to, almost like how you were in the kitchen working with Spanish speakers, if you were to like move to Mexico and not take any classes, you would learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science that says like, you don't learn super quickly because you really should have like an instructor that's creating and curating your learning for your level and your interests and build a progression. It's kind of like a fitness routine. Like, do you want an actual like coach, or do you just want to figure it out on your own? So you will learn. And if anything, you'll like add value to our ecosystem and our community. So we'll be like, yes, join us.
Right.
Like no matter what, that's huge for both me and you, Immerse and our client. But in that same metaphor, if you've got serious goals, kind of like at the gym, we've got the exact patented process that guarantees results. So it's like, well, it's up to you. We like both.
Yeah, that's good. So, you kind of mentioned that like, if you're spending time on Duolingo for 10 minutes every day, like you're basically wasting your time. Like, is this program something that isn't for everyone, right? Like, is there, like, if you're not serious about taking a language, should you even bother showing up? Is it like kind of only for people who are like really serious about doing this, or can I just do it in my free time and maybe learn a little bit too?
I think, actually, I've never really been asked that before. The first thought that comes to my mind is, interestingly, if you were to interview or survey our users, all of them were serious Duolingo, like addicted Duolingo people during the pandemic who were like, gosh, dang it, I'm not making progress. And then heard about us and oftentimes bought a VR headset to truly immerse. So that, for me alone, that's pretty fascinating proof. Sorry if I'm like throwing shade at Duolingo.
I think that you have to.
For the actual like, okay, what if I'm more casual? I would say all of us have time in our week where we're like blowing off steam. We're playing video games, we're hanging out in VR chat, we're watching Netflix. My argument would be, do all the things that you naturally enjoy, but why not kind of turn it into a productivity thing and learn a language? So I'm that way. I'm like, if I'm watching Netflix, I'll actually throw on the like French dub or the French subtitles. So I like just feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to learn a little bit. I would say times 10. If you're going to hang in VR chat or you're going to blow off steam on Fortnite or whatever game you play, reallocate some of that, do the exact same super fun things, make friends, hang out in a virtual like metaverse world, and you'll see amazing results for a really cheap price tag.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So what platforms is this on? And is it VR strictly, or are there ways to access this like via flat screen or something like that?
Yeah, smart. Yeah. So mostly today, Meta's been like our number one partner for a long time. So they've really helped like keep us alive, resource us, all that stuff. The timeline, we've been like kind of close to inking a deal with ByteDance and Pico. That's a long story. Sony PlayStation VR 2, we're talking to them. So all the new headsets that are coming out, we will be on by the end of this year. Like that's what our board wants us to do. That's what investors want. And then we've had a kind of a flat screen application for a number of reasons. We've been really excited with kind of the concept of game streaming. So NVIDIA, it's a big tech company, they have this new product where instead of having to like download our app and I don't know, it's 600 megabytes or whatever, you can, from our website, click a button and jump into Immerse from your browser. That comes out next month. So that'll just make it even easier.
And that is a headset-based experience.
Sorry, flat screen.
That's a flat
2D
screen.
2D desktop.
Okay.
Starting next month.
Cool. Yeah. And would somebody who's like using Steam VR maybe potentially be able to launch from there as well?
Yes, it's funny. We've been prioritizing that, and that is like right on the cusp of being much easier than it currently is. So short answer, yes, especially if you wait 2 weeks or like 3 weeks. It's all coming.
Yeah. Wow, this is great. What do you think, Skiva? Do you have any thoughts or questions about this?
I'm excited. I'm just excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see this take shape and more languages be offered and really start to hear more people having success stories. I want to try this. I really do. I would love, there's so many benefits to being able to communicate with people that aren't in your country. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just, it's amazing. And to do so in VR is huge. We talked about that whole immersion factor. Going to another country, you will eventually, if you live there, you're going to learn the language, like it or not, because you're immersed in it. So this is perfect. And I just love to see this. This is great.
Skiva said it. Skiva said it. If Skiva says it, it's real. It means
That's
something.
the endorsement we need.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need. All right, so I think we're kind of getting close to the end here, but I do want to kind of just bounce the ball back into your court here for a moment, and give you an opportunity to maybe express something about Immerse that we haven't gotten to yet, or VR as a whole that you think is really important that we should maybe bring up while we have the opportunity to do so. Just anything that you maybe want to get into or you think is important.
Oh man, I like that. I think I take notes. So I had a couple notes that I wanted to hit. And I think the one that it's another one that's like, there's one or two things that really motivate me deeply. That's the reason, we've been grinding for 6 years. What's the reason? I think that whole, being able to unlock for so many people around the world, that's a big one. The other one that really fires me up, and it's an invitation, even to the folks that maybe are listening or hear about us, is the capacity for VR to reinvent the way we think about education is right there. I'd say it's that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded. We truly rethought, we should have a textbook and memorize vocab words. They finally killed it and said, nope, no more. We're done. Throw that away. Burn it. That's stupid. It doesn't work. Stop wasting your time. I really feel like that's the cusp we're on.
Yeah.
And it's not that we get all this credit. It's now, thankfully, a lot of folks believe in the future of VR. And I've had the pleasure of working with some really smart engineers and PhD researchers. That's what we're doing. And I think half the reason or 2/3 of the reason we're successful are because of our users. They're like, hey, you introduced a new feature and it kind of didn't work. Here's what I think you should do. So it's really been this communal endeavor over years to do something pretty lofty, which is reinvent the way we think about pedagogy and learning and teaching. That fires me up.
So do you see in a few years, classrooms literally just throwing all their textbooks into the dumpster and trading them in for headsets and everyone's in there, and then would we go to classrooms, right? Do you have to go to a physical location to do that?
That's the fun ones. I think the exact train of thought you're on is that's where I land. That's what I subscribe to.
Yeah.
I have a question here too as well. So a lot of people, the great thing about the Quest and this being on the Quest is it's a portable device. A lot of people travel. They're all over the place all the time. Don't necessarily sit at home to do these things. Maybe they're on a plane. Maybe they're, like I said, in a hotel room. Is there an offline mode to this? Is there anything that you can do when you don't have a stable internet connection to learn while you're away?
Yeah. Smart, really smart. So a couple small details that I skipped is actually when you become a member and subscribe and you have all these classes you can start to take, we actually curate again the practice and the exact learning that we're going to introduce in the class. So if you're okay, I'm going to sign up for a class tomorrow at 2 p.m., we'll send you an email and be hey, if you want to start prepping, there's actually in written form, which kind of is to your point earlier, Steve. These are the 12 things we're going to go over. This is the grammatical concept. If you want to watch this quick video to prepare, it's called flipped class learning, where instead of the teacher just lecturing on the whiteboard, hey, memorize this, we say, you can do it just live in class, or if you want to prepare, do some of that beforehand. And that way, when you're in class, your true focus is using the language and memorizing and making it kind of turn into your subconscious, like a muscle memory. That's the magic. So I would say that's probably the lowest hanging fruit of, hey, I'm on a flight. I don't have internet. I've got class tomorrow. Let me prep. let me go through the learning outcomes beforehand so I can really hit the ground running tomorrow.
Dude, Quinn, you're the real deal, man. I gotta say, you know, like your energy and enthusiasm is palpable. Like I can it's everywhere, you know, like I don't know how someone can listen to this conversation that we just had and like not be fired up about the future of education and the opportunities that are that VR is giving us to elevate our ability to learn things, you know, and acquire new skills that otherwise are a huge pain in the ass to learn. Like it is not easy 100%. To learn a new language, and I'm sure it's probably still not easy using Immerse, right? Like you still have to put in the effort, right? Totally.
Guys, I think that's exactly it. I think that's where I kind of always refer back to the fitness metaphor of like, your fitness, your coach can't make you buff, but he sure as hell can make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And he can get you on the right path for you to see some really tangible results. I think that's part of why I love it, is it's like, honey, this is a partnership. Like we've all got goals. We've all got ways that we want to improve as humans and part of our journey. And it just so happens VR completely changes the game for this one part of our human journey, speaking and communicating and connecting with people. That's what we're going to do. That's like our little slice that we want to contribute to.
That's what you're doing. That's what you are doing. And you're out there winning VR awards while you do it, dude. So I feel touched and inspired by this conversation. You know, I hope everybody else does too. I'm willing to bet they do feel that way, because like I said, this is at a human level, you know, like we're not just talking games here. We're talking human stuff, you know? So it's awesome. And I gotta say, it's definitely just been a pleasure having you on here and getting to kind of dive into this with you. Same. No, this is the highlight of my week. Thanks for having me on, and thanks again for winning those awards for us. Anytime. Yeah, I'm happy to be indebted to or by a company like yours. You know, feel free to pay me back however you want. You know, lifetime subscription or something. You know, I don't know. We can talk. We can figure it out, but you know, seriously though, definitely it was a pleasure, you know, and especially now, right? Because before I was just accepting awards for some company, but now I've seen, you know, we've met you, we've connected with you, we've really learned kind of what Immerse is all about, and it makes that moment even more special for me now. So thank you so much, dude. Thanks, guys. Seriously, such a treat, and thanks to all the viewers. Thanks for tagging along. Thank you very much, everyone. I think this is where we say goodbye to Quinn Taber, CEO of Immerse. Thank you so much, brother. An absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to do it again. We'll chat again. Okay. Maybe we'll meet up at an event or something. I don't know, but this is just the beginning. Cheers. Thanks, guys. All right, brother. We'll see you later. Bye, Quinn Taber. And he gone just like that. He is removed from the show. You ejected him. I can't believe you ejected him. Oh, well, you know, not everyone can stay on the ship forever. I think that was pretty awesome. That was awesome. It's really awesome. You know, you get all these ideas like, oh, VR will someday revolutionize this, or we'll be able to do this better in VR. And like, those days are here, man. You know, we have all of these different companies doing all of these amazing things to make life better through virtual reality. And, this is just one of those cases. So yeah, it's a big one. It's a good one. Like this is definitely one of like the best outside of just entertainment and gaming applications that I've seen, you know, like there's a lot of like, you know, we've been exploring different like fitness things in VR, right? Which a lot of people love, but there's still friction and weirdness that comes with doing that, right? Like we're wearing headsets, but like getting on the floor and I have to set my controllers down to do it. And then my avatar twists and contorts, you know? So like there are some sacrifices that we make, I think, to use VR to exercise and work out. And now I'm like sweating in my expensive device, and there's just like, it's not perfect yet, you know, but something like this, it's really close to like being everything that it can be, you know? And at this point, what are we going to improve? Just like visual fidelity or audio fidelity, or maybe add haptics to the experience or whatever. But I mean, it sounds like it's in a place now where it's really effective. And obviously, you know, they're winning VR awards. There are other people out there who agree. Yeah. Growing up, I wasn't a big fan at all of going out to a school and sitting down and looking at a book and being bored to death by a teacher, right? If I grew up 10 years from now, even right now, and these things were an option, man, I would have just enjoyed my educational years so
so much more.
Right. Yeah. Just like you put on a headset and you're like transported to a place where you're like really engaging with your topic of discussion, whether it's a language or maybe you're learning about animals or whatever. Like going to a zoo for me is almost like doing a VR experience in terms of like where scale exists. You know, like whenever I see a giraffe, I'm like, what? Like it is so big. Like it's so much bigger than you could ever even imagine until you see it. You know, like you can show me 100 videos of giraffes, but it's only when I'm standing next to one that I'm blown away by the scale. You know, and like that's another thing that VR is able to do really well. It's just like convey size of scale, convey texture, or you know, or what it feels like to occupy a room. That's kind of one of the things that like Andrea Koshikoru is kind of all about. You know, it's like, what does it feel like to enter a room? You know, like if it's designed a different way, does it feel different to enter it? And VR literally can convey that kind of stuff. So this is awesome stuff, man.
It is.
I really enjoyed this conversation today.
Me too. Look forward to more of this type of thing for sure.
I am too. And, you know, we thank you all for joining us on this live broadcast / recorded broadcast for your podcast platform / upload VR / wherever you're listening to this. We definitely thank you guys for joining us, and you know, being here of course live is special for us. You know, VR with Jasmine's in the house.
What's up, Jazz?
Z Storm VR's been chilling, and D1 360 VR.
What's up, D?
Arcanian and Classy Grandma and Echo into the Future and Bluebell and Duggars K and Hussein X and Red / Ace and my darling wife Brittany and Space Denizen and VROYBOY. By the way, there was an extra donation from Classy Grandma that we didn't shout out earlier, which I feel bad about. And thank you for your contributions, Classy Grandma. It really means a lot to us. Cosmotron, what's up? Good to see you, man.
Hey, dude.
Thank you all for joining us. It's been a great one.
It has.
What are we going to do next week?
Next year, next year. Next week.
Next year.
This year just started. Next week, we're going to talk to Igor Hardy of Played with Fire, who is coming out with a really cool game called Mixture. That we got to try out at PAX West, I believe, and I think a lot of people are really going to like it. So we're going to dive into some development stuff and see what he has in store for us.
Yeah, with Mixture, you want to be thinking like Moss, Astrobot, like third-person perspective, controlling a character, but also being able to interact with the environment as well. They're kind of taking a similar approach there, which I'm really excited about because, you know, I could use more VR games that are like kind of chill and relaxing to experience, you know, like I'm always just like standing up and like blasting and looking over every direction. And I really enjoy those like adventure platformer style games. So I'm excited to talk with Igor about it, and they're definitely gearing up for
He's such a nice guy, man.
So nice.
We've hung out with him a couple times at a couple different expos, and he's just such a great guy. So I'm excited to talk to him.
He really is. Laszlo 216, Cleveland represent, Dark Angel, Hasta la vista, Eric from Q2C VR Gamer. We love you all. Thank you so much for watching the Between Realities VR podcast, and we will see you in 1 week with Igor Hardy from Played with Fire, developers of Mixture. Have a good weekend. Feel free to hit us up for some games. That's that. Bye, Mickey Burr. Bye, D1 360 VR. Bye, D. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.